Ready? Somebody write this up. All right. So let's take a look at APs and GPs and how to apply them, right? So what you have here is a whole list of different formulas, right? For these formulas, you have to learn, if it's an AP, be able to apply all. If it's a GP, you have to be able to apply anyone, right? Right? Before I go on the whiteboard, I want to identify this, right? A GP, you have to pay attention to how R is, right? You have to pay attention to the value for R. If R is less than 1, then you use this version here. If R is more than 1, then you use this version, right? And then we'll talk about something infinity and so on, right? All right. So let's go to the whiteboard. So what's an AP and what's a GP, right? A real simple AP, right? A very, very simple AP is this. 1, and you keep adding the same numbers. So you keep adding, let's say, 1 to this, 1 to this, 1 to this. That's an AP. For this AP, the first term is 1, and the thing that is all changing by is 1, right? This could be a fraction, this could be a whole number, right? This could be a negative value, it don't matter, right? They must all consistently change by this. Okay? GP on the other hand, a GP on the other hand is instead of adding, you multiply. So for example, if you have 10 and you multiply all by 2, right, you will get something looking like this. So this term is 10 and the common ratio is 2. How do you determine if it's an AP of GP? Right? Anybody remember what to do? How do you determine if this is an AP or this is a GP? What you guys do? Huh? You have to kind of work backwards, right? So you can find the subtract consecutive terms. So subtract these two, subtract these two, subtract these two. If you end up with the same value, then it's a AP. What about here? You have to find R. How you'll get R? Right. Divide consecutive terms. Right? Right? Is the second term divided by the term before it, right? That's okay? Dylan? Right? So you need to remember this. You need to remember this about our GP. Right? We don't want to have to list out our entire GP. So instead of listing out our entire GP, we can just get a formula. And the formula allows us to find any one of the terms. For AP, the formula is T to the N is A plus N minus 1D. So let's try to find the 12th term. What's the 12th term here? 12, right? So let's see if you get a is 1, N is 12, D is also 1. 1 plus 11 is 12. That's okay? Let's try and find the 12th term here as well. Same form, so we're using the formula. The formula, if it's a GP, now we're using A over, we're using A by R to the N minus 1. If it's a GP. So if it's what, 12 terms, that'll be A, which is 10, R, which is 2, and N is 12 minus 1. Okay with that? So that's 2 to the 11 multiplied by 10. How much is that? How much? What is 2 to the 11? How much? 2,000. 0. Okay? So that's the way you use these formulas here for APs and GPs. No? Okay. All right. Good. Next phase. Of course, it will be this easy, right? After you figure out if it's an AP or GP, sometimes they might leave out two. So they might leave out something here and try to make you figure out what's A or what's D or so on, right? Are you okay with that? You want to okay how to identify with the AP or GP? Right? You subtract or you divide. If you subtract, for example, let's say you try to subtract here. When you subtract these two, what you'll get? When you subtract these two, you'll get. So once the numbers are not the same, it can't be a AP. So you go ahead on here, divide now. Are you okay with that? Yeah. So that is your AP and your GP. Now, sometimes they want to sum up the progression. So instead of finding the term, you want to sum it up. And then that's where you will use the sum formula, right? That's where you will use S to the N is equal to N on 2 by 2A plus. And you see how important to learn these formulas, right? And then for GP, S to the N is equal to A by 1 minus R to the N over 1 minus R. Right? And last thing before we go into some questions, what would happen? What would happen if I asked you if something is convergent or divergent? What does that mean again? What does convergent and divergent mean? Divergent means all the values moving away. convergent means they're coming towards some value, right? So let's take an AP for example. Let's take an AP. If I start with 5 and I keep adding them 10, right? This will keep going until it reaches what? I just keep going and going and going till it reaches what? Probably infinity, right? So this is divergent, right? This is an example of a divergent series. Okay? But a GP has a special property. Watch this here. Let's say we start with 2 and I'm multiplying by a half, right? A half is R. 2 by a half is 1, a half by 1 is a half, a quarter, 1/8, until I reach what? Until I reach 1 over infinity, which is 0. So this gets smaller and smaller and smaller until it reaches 0. So it's coming closer and closer until it reaches 0. This is said to be convergent. The one on top is said to be divergent. If something convergent, we could add it up and actually get a value, right? So because a GP is convergent between -1 and 1, because it's convergent, we could actually find something infinite. So we could take A and divide it by 1 minus whatever R was. In this question, R was a half. Right? And that's the theory behind APs and GPs. Right? Now we're going to try a few. Okay? We did past papers already, so I'm going to give you an example. I'm just give you 1, 2 past papers. I'm going to give you some hard ones. All right, so let's see if we can do some APs and GPs. We'll start hard one time. Nice. That is correct. Our heart. No, just right, so All right, ready? So let's try this one here. Ready? So the one I'm going to give you here, you have to figure out if it's an AP or if it's a GP. Right? So we have to figure out if it's an AP or GP, right? One line just came already. That's 2 to the 4, right? Online. Y'all seen that? That's a 7. Right? So let's do it part by part. Number 1, part 1. Right? Determine if that series is AP or GP. Right? Determine if this series is an AP or GP. Right? And I told you what to do already. Check and see if it's an AP or GP. If it's an AP, find A and B. If it's a GP, find A and R. So you will get it for answer it like put in an exam, right? So that will get it. Right, so work it out. Right, so we have to check and see if it's an AP or GP, right? And then if it's an AP or if it's a GP, tell me what is A and tell me what is R or what is D. Oh, do you remember what is AP? Is it AP or GP? Which one? Sure. Yeah, you have to check and see. You have to subtract and divide. So subtract these two. If you get the same value, well, you're good to go. Subtract these two and subtract these two. If that don't work, divide them. Now you'll pick out if it's an AP or GP, right? Okay, so let's see. I am going to check for D first. 1 and 2 to the 4 minus 1 and 2. And then I'll check out 1 and 2 to the 7 minus 1 and 2 to the 4. When you work out this, they are not the same, correct? They are not the same. Therefore, not an AP. So let's check R. Divide these two now. 1 and 2 to the 4th divided by 1 and 2. And then divide 1 on 2 to the 7 divided by 1 on 2 to the 4th. So I am getting 1 on 2 to the power of 3. That's okay? Yeah? So therefore, we know A and we know R. That's 1/8, right? 1/8. Okay, that's 1/8. Right? Next. The next part of the question was to find the next part, that was part 1, right? Part 2 was to find sum of the first 10 terms. And part 3, determine if this exists and then find it. Question, Krasnell. Does sum to infinity exist for this GP? Yes? Why? Because it R falls between 1 and -1, right? Good job. Go ahead, work it out. Let's see what you get. Right, online message, right? Find some of the first 10 terms using the right formula and then find something. I don't get to use it. Yeah. Right? Find something. Find something infinity and oh yeah, and I may be something. First constant and anything like well, think anything, right? Huh? Right, look it out. All right, let's see what you got. Right, so sum to infinity, sorry, sum to first 10, Sn is equal to A. Because R is less than 1, we're using the 1 minus R version, right? So N is 10, A is, what's A? A is a half, and R is 1/8. All to the power of 10. All over 1 minus 1/8. Do you think? Let's have, how much we got? What we got here? Real big? No, it's can't be a big, but that big. The fraction. How much you got? Put it exactly like this to the Casio. Oh, sure. Sorry. Yeah. Put the N in the wrong place. Sorry about that. Thanks. Correct. 0 points. And then when we got this part here, whole answer is 4 over 7 for this, right? 4 over 7. Yeah, that's all I want. How we get that? 4 and 7. We check out online here. What we got online here? Yeah, Katrina get that. Katrina get that. So we got everybody okay? Right, sum to infinity A over 1 minus R. A is 1/2, 1 minus 1/8. So without going to calculator, would sum to infinity be more than this or less than this? Without going to calculator, would sum to infinity be more or less? More, right? Should be more, right? Right, so it was a half divided by 7/8. A half multiplied by 8 on 7. Same thing? Probably round up too much here. Alright, but let me write the exact thing, right? Oh, so the overall, well, the decimal value I got here was 0.571. And well, this should be close to that, right? A little bit. But okay with that? With your whole question? Right? So you had to be able to determine if it's an AP or GP. You had to use the formulas appropriately. Alright? Let's go a little bit harder now. Yeah.
What's that? What is something that is 4 decimal places?
Or something like that. And here's what. Right, because this. So it might be real far off. That might be real fun. Yeah? Come here. All right, let's go again. This was a little more information. Do I give you one with logs, boy? I feel so. Just two logs. Yeah. I like this one. I like this one. Colina said this was too easy. Brasnell said it was too easy. Brasnell said this was easy. Right? Online. Shannon, all again, should I? All right, so here's what we have. I want to give it. I already want to give it. Now I'll give you another stuff. All right, here's what, right? So I've given you a series here. What does multiplying logs mean again? Add, right? I still remember that, right? All right, have fun. Yeah. Now, have fun. Good. Pack up your bag and go. All right, so we have to show that this is an AP. How you show AP again? How you show APs again? Right, so you have to subtract consecutive terms, right? Let me see a subtract and see if we can figure out what's A and what's B. Then that might help you with part 2 and 3. I told you these questions are going to all be doing be a little bit harder, right? Things like this will come by. Right, so try to subtract it. Before you do that, pay for pull up just for the cell phone. Because it's something else, you will subtract it. The real two seat or that's not subtracted. No, anyone.
Anyone?
Yeah. N, no, N. General too. Right? Some of you all have it. Watch. Some of you all have it, right? Log to the base A, BC minus log to the AB. Some of you all expand it out already, but it's not subtracted. Remember, in order for you to get D, you have to subtract consecutive terms, right? So you have to subtract this and this. And also one person. That's very good, Taylor. You apply log rules here. Recognize that? Same base minus. So therefore you can divide. And what will happen here? 3 b's. The b's will cancel. And you will end up with log to the base A of C. That is your D. That's it. Right? Right? Carolina, you saw what you did? You expand this out. You expand log AB plus log AC, and then you have to minus. This will cancel. So you'll get up. See enough? But I like this the most. Very good, Taylor. Very good. Right? So you know D and you know A. You know A and D. Now try to find the fourth term and try to find Sn. Right? So you're just simply applying the log rules that you know. All right? Substituting the formula and use the log rules to make it look nice. But you can figure out the fourth term, right? By 1, 2, 3. So what's the fourth term? Do it mentally from Esther. What's the fourth term? Yeah, that's it. Right? You can do it mentally. But use the formula and show it. You all seen it? 1, 2, 3. And you can figure out the fourth term. You cannot see it? Sure? Okay, you seen it? So what's the fifth term then, Faith? If you see it. What's the fifth term? Huh? The fourth term is log A, B, C, Q. So what will be the fourth term? Huh? What will the fifth term be? Ready? Right, 34. All right, nice. So if you use the formula is A plus N minus 1 by D. D is what again? D is log to the base A of C. What can I do with this power? Oh, sorry. N is 4. What do you do with the power? What I can do with the power? Put it in front here. So I'll end up with log to the base AB plus log to the base A C cubed. Addition means I can multiply. So I'll get log to the base A of BC cubed. All right? The reason I like this question so much is it combines what? It combines the APs and GPs with the log rules. So you get to revise 2 topics. But the bad thing is if you don't know your 2 topics again, you will think of it. That's the bad thing. No, that's just the 4th term. Yeah. So the part 3 is to find S7. Try to find S to the N. Right? Try to find S to the N. try and simplify it using your log rules, right? Online, are you okay there? Are you okay online there? Kiran? Ariana, are you okay? Right, so all I want you to do now, Ariana, is to use A and B in that formula. Right? Use A and B here. N on 2 by A plus. Actually, we know the last term, so use that. Use that version. Right? Use this version. Plug in the first term, last term, and let's simplify. Check it and see. Look, we have the last term right here. For the answer. Right? Find SN from a right. What A again? A is log 3 base A of B, and L is this here. So you want to simplify this, right? Use your log rules. So here's where your logs coming, right? Let's do. If you think you get it almost online, if you get it, some up pick, right? Might be hard for you to type it. Let's see, it's simplified. Apply your log rules, right? Apply your log rules. One more, get rid of the pass in front. Oh. Try to do one more step. One more step. Right? You can click your online. You can click your work here. But they have this separation. Right? But we are not sure that you'll get negative on top, negative one. Let's see what you had. So this is n on 2. Same base addition sign. So what we do, Kiran? Multiply. So you'll get log 3 base A of B by B, B squared by C to D. But remember, it's n on 2 by the whole thing, right? So what we could do with the n on 2? Put it as the power. So we could write log to the base A of B squared, C to the n minus 1, n over 2. Right? And you can make it look one more line, you can make it look a little bit nicer. N on 2 by 2 is n minus 1 by n on 2 is n minus 1 by n all over 2. That's just a complicated, but this was the answer, the past paper. How are you looking, hard? Huh?
Yes.
Final was hard?
Yes.
Alright. So I'll take this from key. What key here? 2002. Hold on. When it used to be easy. Right? Alright, so that is a log. Can we squeeze in one more way? But again, right? I hope you all see in Kahoot how important it is to know your rules, right? Right? After Carnival, we're gonna do a whole day, one Kahoot with everything. All your rules, right? And we're gonna tell you what you do. Right?
Yeah.
Everybody come out. All right.